It is time for the most unheralded, underappreciated, and underrated position in the game. Oh yeah, we're talking tackles, baby! Oh yeah! Let's get sexy with it. You know, there used to be a time when tackles were a sure thing in the NFL draft. When you take one in the top 10, you knew that you were getting someone that you could plug in right away and anchor your line for the next decade. But it's just simply not like that anymore. Out of the 8 tackles taken in the top 10 over the past 4 drafts, obviously not including this year, only 3 have emerged and played really well. Let's talk about some of these guys. Matt Kalil was picked 4th in 2012. Eric Fisher and Luke Joeckel went 1st and 2nd in 2013, respectively, before Lane Johnson was taken 4th. Greg Robinson went 2nd and Jake Matthews 6th in 2014. Brandon Sheriff was taken 5th. And Eric Flowers 9th in 2015. Johnson has been one to emerge, which is funny because he was the one that was supposed to take a while to develop. He was a quarterback in high school, then a tight end prior to moving the tackle with Oklahoma. When you look at some of these other guys, Kalil had a strong rookie season, but, well, hasn't really been the same since. Fisher and Joeckel have underwhelmed so far, and Robinson and Matthews had really poor rookie seasons, although Matthews kind of put it together last year. Flowers was a disaster, but Sheriff looks like a pretty good player right now for Washington, although he's playing right now. As for this past draft, Ronnie Stanley went 6th and Jack Conklin 8th. Laramie Tunsil would have been in the top 10 had it been for that, well, gas mask incident. Joe Thomas is my top-ranked tackle, and so far in 9 seasons, he hasn't missed a snap, been named a first-team All-Pro 6 times, and has gone to Honolulu. Well, Pro Bowl. They don't go to Honolulu every year anymore, but to the Pro Bowl each year. At 6'7", 315 pounds, he's the best pass protector in the league. He has great agility and range, which allows him to recover better than any tackle in the game. He's the epitome of consistency and rarely gets beat. Run blocking hasn't been a strength of Thomas's, but he made huge strides in that area the last few years and is the reason why he's the top dog among all the tackles. Thomas uses that patented power he has in run blocking by pushing the pile off the left side and holding the angle to allow the running back to bounce runs to the outside. The Cowboys' decision to extend Tyron Smith, the second-ranked tackle on my list a few years ago, for 8 years through 2023, is, well, it's looking like a brilliant move. At only 25, he's emerged as a building block for the franchise and the captain of the best offensive line in the league. In pass protection, he uses his power to finish blocks and lock down edge rushers. He has size, balance, and great technique with his exceptional footwork, allowing him to stay in front and mirror defenders. There may not be a more athletic lineman in the league right now than Smith, who uses his speed and great power to get on the perimeter and take on the outside linebacker and get upfield to pounce on the linebacker and run blocking. Andrew Whitworth checks in at number 3. He gets lost in the shuffle among the great tackles in the game because he's in Cincinnati. Whitworth isn't the most athletic. He's very stiff at times, and it can look a little bit awkward, but once he latches onto a rusher, they rarely break free from him. He has a strong punch which knocks rushers off balance, and as a run blocker, uses his power to drive defenders backwards and really understands angles and leverage. This allows him to excel in space. Trent Williams checks in at number 4. At 6'5", 337, Williams is simply a beast of a man, but also possesses good feet for a man of that girth. Williams positions his hands well in pass protection and has a pretty strong punch. He has great range using those feet, which allows him to be patient and play under control. There used to be a time when Williams didn't excel in the run game. He didn't overpower using that girth the way he should have, but he took a huge leap forward last season, consistently generating movement at the point of attack, and where he's at best is bursting out of his stance quickly and making blocks on the second level and making pulling look really easy. Joe Staley is number 5 on my list at 6'5", 315. Staley is quick for a man his size and uses it to his advantage when the 49ers move the pocket for the mobile Colin Kaepernick. He also has a lot of power in his upper body, which allows him to punch opposing pass rushers effectively. As a run blocker, he's powerful at the point of attack. Staley's strong enough to close down and seal the edge. He also uses that quickness in space. San Francisco likes to pull and trap him from the tackle spot. We'll see how they kind of do with Chip Kelly now, because he's a guy that likes to pull his tackles and linemen. You know, there's a lot of timing with his blocking. Terron Armstead checks in at number 6. He's extremely athletic, physically gifted, very light on his feet. I mean, the guy posted a 4.7 140 at the Combine in 2013. That's just unheard of for a man his size. I don't think any tackle has taken a bigger leap forward the last 2 years than Armstead, and where he uses his physical tools is in his recovery, using his quick feet and body control to regain position. He also times his punch very well and has the tendency of stopping a bull rusher right in his tracks. Armstead isn't as great in the running game, which is why I don't have him higher, but does showcase the power at the point of attack. Duane Brown is number 7, and he has some of the best technique of any lineman in the game. His length makes him very tough to beat on the edge. His superb technique allows him to stay balanced and maintain a powerful base when anchoring. Houston likes to run a zone scheme in the running game, and Brown is a pretty good fit for it. He's fluid going to his left or right and understands angles. Sometimes he'll miss his man in space, but overall he's a pretty good run blocker, but not as great as the ones I got in the top 5. I've got Cordy Glenn at number 8. Playing in a contract year, Glenn put everything together in 2015. As a pass protector, Glenn is dominant, using his length to effectively move pass rushers past the quarterback. He's very agile in his lower half and uses his hands well to anchor defenders. His run blocking isn't as great, but it's still solid and flashes when he's on his game, using his size and strength to push defenders backwards. Jared Veldheer checks in at number 9. For Bruce Arians' vertical attack to be effective, it starts up front with the pass protection and giving the receivers enough time to get upfield. Veldheer is solid in this area, but does show inconsistency due to his aggressiveness and wanting to win the battle early. This makes him very susceptible to spin moves and guys that kind of play with a little bit more finesse. Due to his power, Veldheer is a good inline blocker and pushes people backwards, so he's solid in that area. Rounding out my top 10 is Mitchell Schwartz, but he's on his own now in Kansas City, away from that great offensive line that's in Cleveland. It'll be interesting to see how he performs now that the pressure is on. Put the Denver tape on last year. Seriously, put it on. Watch him shut down Super Bowl MVP Von Miller. It was very, very impressive. As a run blocker, he's at his best in zone schemes because of his understanding of angles. His good feet, maintains good balance, gets a lot of movement at the point of attack. All right, let's get into some under-the-radar tackles. I've got Taylor Lewan at 13, Ryan Schraeder at 18, Marcus Gilbert at 23, Morgan Moses at 24, and Kelvin Beachum at 29. I love Lewan's mean streak, but his strength is also his weakness because he tends to get over-aggressive at times, which leads to him lunging and losing his balance. Other than that, Marcus Mariota's blindside could be in good hands for the foreseeable future. Schraeder is the best tackle that you may not have heard of before, and with Jake Matthews taking a step forward last year, the Falcons now have a pair of respectable tackles. Moses is another solid tackle that you may not know about. He and Williams were a huge help to Kirk Cousins' eye-popping second half of the season. I mean, the guy had all day to throw. Gilbert's size and power allows him to anchor effectively in pass protection and deliver powerful strikes. That upper body strength is very, very impressive. Beachum is coming off an ACL tear and is with a new team, relocating to Jacksonville in the offseason. He might be the team's starting left tackle, with former first-round pick Luke Joeckel, talked about him earlier. He's moved to guard. As for the Eagles, I've got Jason Peters at 15, Lane Johnson at 16. And I'll tell you what, Peters was by far the toughest to rank due to his injury-plagued 2015, due to the fact that he's not getting any younger. So, where do you put him? I do think he played a little bit better than people might have thought last year. And even when you look at training camp right now, he left practice twice this week with nagging injuries. Although, I will say this, I believe that Doug Peterson's slow and methodical style of football should help him immensely with staying on the field. Johnson got paid like an elite tackle during the offseason, but I don't think he's there yet. He's at his best run blocking, but is he going to be able to effectively take over for Peters at left tackle a few years from now? Because I think his pass protection needs to improve. All right, those are the tackles. Those are my rankings. Let me know. Comment section on YouTube. Comment section on Facebook. Whatever realm you use to watch this on. Let me know what your top 10 is, what your top 5 is. Let me know if you disagree with anything. I'd love to chat. So with that being said, I'm Adrian Fedke. I'm out. Guards are coming tomorrow, so we're going to maintain the sexiness with the offensive line. Later.